I lost a big court case today, and I think freedom of speech for all of us has suffered a setback because of the precedent this ruling against me sets for everyone else. I'm worried that it is now legally dangerous for Jews or anyone else in Canada to call out an anti-Semite as anti-Semitic without risking being sued into submission. Here, let me explain. Today, the Ontario Court of Appeal upheld a defamation trial judgment against me in a lawsuit filed more than 7 years ago for comments I wrote on my blog. So right there, imagine the punishing costs over 7 years of this litigation. And that's the point. That's lawfare, a deterrent to anyone who would dare to speak freely to make them censor themselves instead. Even if I had won today, I've already spent countless thousands of dollars on lawyers and hundreds of hours of my life on this too. Here's the background. I was sued by Khurram Awan, the former youth president of the Canadian Islamic Congress. One of the reasons I lost was that the trial judge ruled that calling Awan an anti-Semite was defamatory. But here's why I had said it. Awan used to be the youth president of an anti-Semitic group, the Canadian Islamic Congress. Back then, the Islamic Congress was led by a notorious anti-Semite, Mohammed al-Masri, who went on TV to declare that any adult in Israel is a legitimate target for terrorism. Here, remember this?
Totally innocent are the children, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay? But they are not innocent if they are military in civilian clothes. Okay?
What about women?
The same. If they are women in the army,
anyone over the age of 18 in Israel is a valid target.
Anybody above 18 is a part of the Israeli popular army.
Everyone in Israel and anyone and everyone in Israel, irrespective of gender, over the age of 18, is a valid target.
Yes.
The Islamic Congress also called for the legalization of anti-Semitic terrorist groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. And yet the trial judge ruled that it was defamatory for me to call their former youth president anti-Semitic because Awan denied he was an anti-Semite in court. And he said he never knew about his organization's infamous misconduct. Awan said he wasn't anti-Semitic, and the judge ruled I did not prove it was factually true, even though Awan himself testified at trial that he agreed it's reasonable for people to call certain statements by the Islamic Congress anti-Semitic. So I appealed the trial ruling. It cost me more than $30,000 to do so. And today, the Ontario Court of Appeal came out with their ruling, and it was awful. The three-judge panel, led by a Jewish judge, by the way, Catherine Feldman, they upheld the trial decision against me. And the $80,000 judgment, plus the $70,000 cost penalty, plus $15,000 more for the appeal, so $165,000 plus interest, all for a Muslim activist who never told the court that he lost a single penny because of my comments. This was really the court's revenge against me. Now, maybe you think that's fine. It's just me. I'm a big mouth. I dish it out, so I should take it. Who am I to think we have free speech, especially about important, controversial matters in society? But let me read to you a passage in the Court of Appeals ruling, and you tell me if you see the paradox here that will apply to anyone in Canada, any Jew, anyone else who fights against anti-Semitism. Put yourself in the shoes of, say, a Jewish student on campus being faced with anti-Semites like Mohammed al-Masri, faced with Israel Apartheid Week, or the vicious boycott, divest, don't buy from Jews movements on campus. Now get this. In the Court of Appeal ruling, and you can see the whole ruling by clicking here, Justice Feldman disagreed with the trial judge. She said, no, it was actually my opinion that the Islamic Congress was anti-Semitic. It was my opinion. I didn't have to prove it as some sort of scientific fact. In paragraph 81, the court actually agrees with me and says the trial judge got it wrong. They say, I accept this submission. Unlike in her fact versus opinion analysis of the liar statements, the trial judge did not apply the reasonable person test, unquote. So reasonable readers would understand that when I refer to the anti-Semites at the Islamic Congress, that was my honest opinion and therefore legally defensible. Okay, great. Thanks for giving me a basic civil liberty called free speech. But then get this. In paragraph 96, Justice Feldman writes, the respondent, that's Khurram Awan, pled malice. Based on the record, the trial judge concluded that the appellant transferred his animosity toward Dr. El-Masri to the respondent. As in, the Court of Appeal says, sure, I held the opinion that the Islamic Congress was anti-Semitic, but because I had hard feelings and animosity towards that guy, Mohammed El-Masri, that's what the judge called malice. And so the judge said I directed those hard feelings to a 1, so my defense of fair comment was thrown out. It wasn't allowed. So let me put this in plain English now. If you campaign against anti-Semitism or any other sort of bigotry, if you say anything or Facebook anything or tweet anything, and if your comments are motivated by hard feelings and animosity towards anti-Semites like Mohammed El-Masri, this court says those hard feelings and animosity take away your right to make the fair comment defense if they're directed at others associated with them. So if you see this video,
totally innocent are the children, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay? But they are not innocent if they are military in civilian clothes. Okay?
What about women?
The same. If they are women in the army,
anyone over the age of 18 in Israel is a valid target.
Anybody above 18 is a part of the Israeli popular army.
Everyone in Israel and anyone and everyone in Israel, irrespective of gender, over the age of 18 is a valid target.
Yes.
If you see that video and feel ill will towards that guy, and then you call him an anti-Semite or something like that, because of that feeling, well, get ready to pay him $165,000 because the courts could say you're malicious towards him, or if you feel that way about people associated with him. But if you're someone who sees that video and, you're not upset by him, you don't have any hard feelings towards him, doesn't motivate your feelings and your comments about him, then the courts may let you call him an anti-Semite because they'll say it's fair comment. Do you see the paradox here? If you have hard feelings towards some bigot, if you think they're a moral danger, a hater, you now have less legal right to say so than someone who has no problem with a bigot. So people who are cool with anti-Semitism, they can speak out about it all they like, but they probably won't speak out about it, will they? And by the way, this court ruling against me isn't just about me. This is at the Ontario Court of Appeal. So it's a binding precedent all across Ontario, and it's persuasive all across the country. This court case has my name on it, but it targets anyone who feels morally compelled to speak out against anti-Semitism. Now, if you're cool with anti-Semitism, you'll be fine under this ruling. You'll have the legal defense of fair comment. Now, you know I'll never shut up, of course. But what about some young kid on campus, some young student? Yeah, unless they have $165,000 and a good lawyer, the courts have a simple message for them. Shut up about anti-Semites, especially about the very worst of them. Obviously, we've got to keep fighting this. I'm going to apply for leave to appeal this to the Supreme Court of Canada. Now, that's not automatic. We have to apply for the right to appeal to the Supreme Court. I'm not sure if they'll grant us permission, but we're going to try. My lawyer says that will cost approximately $10,000. We have to continue. We just can't let this precedent stand. This Court of Appeal ruling doesn't just affect my rights. It's a setback for freedom for everyone, especially for activists trying to fight back against anti-Semitism. Imagine not being able to use that word to describe activists with anti-Semitic groups. If you share my belief that we cannot let this ruling stand, please help me cover the costs of applying to the Supreme Court by visiting standwithezra.ca. Thanks for your support. For me, and for everyone who believes in free speech and who opposes anti-Semitism and lawfare. If you want to help me fight back, please click here or go to standwithezra.ca.